Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined once more by Tate for another monthly stream. A little bit later than normal. I appreciate it is the 4th of April now. We're talking about what watched in March. I've been very ill, so we've been very belatedly late with this. And there's a very big weekend approaching, which I'll be talking about a little bit later in the stream. But before we start talking films, TV, any and all of that stuff, Tate, how are we doing today?
Yeah, doing good. My season is officially over here in Austria, so I will be traveling back over now the next kind of 8-9 days and stuff like that. So I'm going to be on the road for a bit, but then I'm going to be back into my normal setup and finally able to see Dune 2. Oh my god. Finally I'll be able to see it not in German.
It'll still be on at the BFI. Still going strong.
I want to see it in an IMAX. I don't know if I'll travel up to London to see it at the BFI. I'll see it on the biggest IMAX screen I can kind of get to locally, but even then, it's one of those films which, you know, everyone's talking about it, and I've avoided spoilers, and I'm just like, God Christ, please, can I just watch it now?
You're going to get the chance. It's not on. There was a rumor it was going to go online on the 2nd of April, and that wasn't an April Fool's joke. It was a legit rumor. Like Warner Brothers were going to like put it online early, but it's making a lot of money. It's the highest grossing film of the year by some distance now. So thankfully that's not happening, and people will get the chance to see it at the big screen still. There's a few big films coming out. There's actually been some new releases, thankfully. It went very quiet after the Oscars, didn't it? Everything went quiet. It's just been football and wrestling. I'll talk about wrestling later. But the monthly stream, we go through what we've been watching, films, TV, any big talking points of the month. We're probably not going to talk Oscars. It feels like an eternity ago, but it was like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's my mum's split up between pre-Oscars, post-Oscars, because, you know, the split of trying to get all the films watched beforehand. And then
it's like a film calendar, isn't it? You have like before the Oscars, after, and then it's like blockbuster season, and then next thing you know, it's festival runs again, and then it's all season, and then you loop it and loop it. And this year's going to be very different for, I would say, blockbuster season. There's not as many big releases. There's still big releases coming out, but we're going to get the knock-on effects from the strike last year. There's a lot of TV starting in May and June. In the space of a month, you're getting Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, and The Acolyte all at the same time. Weekly streamings. I'm sure you'll have thoughts on Doctor Who airing, well, not airing first in America, but simultaneously airing.
I have very strong thoughts about the premiere airing first in America.
Yeah.
But, you know,
it's the time, isn't it? It's the let's release it at the same time.
So but it's at midnight in the
UK. Yeah,
ridiculous.
That's
actually ridiculous. This is the longest standing British sci-fi show. It's one of the longest standing shows in all of television, and it is notoriously British above all other things. And I don't want to make any comments on kind of how the show looks like it's going in the direction it's going. I know that Disney pumped in the money, and of course they want to. The trailer looks fantastic. It looks really action-packed. It looks full of comedy. It looks like it's starting to rebound off of the Chibnall era. However, the fact that it's going to be releasing in America first, and you know the timings and everything like that is just a bit. It's a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. I feel like the British audience pull is still bigger than the American audience pull for Doctor Who, and I mean it's tough to say because it's such a British show, it's but
tricky,
you don't see other TV shows change their schedule around other countries very often, especially shows that have been around for this long. Like you wouldn't see like an American TV show trying to capture a UK audience. You wouldn't see it in that same. You wouldn't see it in the reverse way. And I'm assuming in like you wouldn't see a Premier League game suddenly be shown at like
let's not tempt them. They would if they could. I know Spain does that though, right? Like one of my friends is Spanish and was saying that apparently Barca and Madrid keep playing in the morning now because it suits the Asian audiences. Which I mean they just need money, but I'm with you on that logic because even WrestleMania this weekend, they pulled it back 1 hour, but that's because the shows are apparently like 4 hours long now or something like ridiculous. So, but yeah, like they're not going to do middle of the day in England unless it was in England. Asterisk, please come soon. Yes. But it is something happening. We're seeing more of sport. I feel like it's the usual Saudi Arabia crap and that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Newcastle United playing every Saturday night at 5:30 these days. But yeah, the Doctor Who stuff, it's a weird one when that sort of came out. And also, what difference does it make? 7 p.m. in the UK is 2 p.m. in the afternoon in New York. They can watch it then. They can watch it 10 in the morning in LA. It's not a problem. Like, it's really silly. And BBC should have put their foot down with Disney with that. I don't mind saying that. I know I'm actually spoken what I've been watching, but yeah, Acolyte. It's going to have a 2 a.m. Well, 7 p.m. Is it 7 p.m. ET or PT? Like 9. It's like 7 p.m., 9 p.m. But then the UK time's like 2 a.m. And like we're not crying because we're used to it with Disney because Star Wars is American and it's to cater to that LA audience because that's where it's created, etc., etc. But yeah, Doctor Who would be weird. It's very weird. Although they did cry when you used to get Star Wars like a day early in the cinema, but that's because.
But that's film releasing schedule and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But so let's talk some films. We haven't really. Do you want me to go first? I feel like.
Can I actually go first this month?
Yes, go first. It's been a weird month.
I was going to say it's been a weird month, but I get the feeling that for some strange reason we've seen similar films.
We have
across the board.
I've seen your list. Sorry, just because I was doing a thumbnail.
I was going to say you've probably looked through my list on there already, but we start off the month with Poor Things. Just because I need to get through the Oscar films and that became available to me. And I enjoyed it. I can understand kind of, people not liking the film, but I also like the final message behind the film. And I can understand why it won the Oscars that it did in the first place. And, we had this debate on the night as well, but, Emma Stone versus Lily Gladstone, it's a very, very fierce battle for that Oscar. And, I'm happy that Emma Stone won it in the end and she was shocked that she won it. The question I would pose to you was, should it have gone to Lily Gladstone or should it have gone to Emma Stone?
Right. Drop my honest thoughts. It's easy to
say go on.
Ceremony, isn't it? Lily Gladstone is amazing in that film. And I believe she has 55 minutes of screen time out of 2 hours, 3-hour film. I think it's incredibly noble for them to have campaigned her in lead actress. And they announced she'd be in lead actress from day one, not like day 100, like when something was 180. From day one, it was she will campaign for lead. And after thinking about Poor Things for weeks and weeks and weeks, I think at her best, Lily Gladstone was better in the role. However, we lose her for such an incredible amount of time. Emma Stone is in the entire time in Poor Things. So I think their performances are similar. I think Lily Gladstone is better. But on the basis of screen time, I personally don't have a problem with it going to Emerson's. I didn't have a problem with it going to the Gladstone. It was as long as it was one of those two, not on net betting, if I'm really honest. But whoever wins a worthy winner. I really enjoyed seeing Lily Gladstone like in award season. Like her interviews, she seems very down to earth, very humble, and I'm excited to see. I think she's been cast in a few things since. I could be wrong, but
I'm pretty sure she has. Yeah,
it's. I get either winner as long as it was those two. Had they've campaigned Gladstone in supporting from day one, should have rinsed that category, done and dusted to death.
I don't know. Divine Joy Randolph was very good in that.
She's very good, but that would have been also then it was. But this one had an hour of screen time, which
true
won it too. So it's I really respect them for keeping her in lead actress, and I'm glad they stuck to it because she is the lead of that film, and I'm tired of Oscar films that. It's that there's some really obvious ones that'll be off the top of my head where it's like this. It was last year with the Spielberg film, right? Did they move Michelle Williams to best supporting from lead, or they switched it around. It backfired on them, and it's things like that I can't be bothered with these days. And it's always at the end. It's always just as they're about to start voting period. So sorry to sort of over elaborate, but yeah, that's right. I'm happy with either winner. They're both worthy winners for this year.
They were both
very good. Year.
They were. It was a very good year in that category. Then I ended up watching Rat Race as just kind of a holdover kind of film. I just wanted to watch a comedy, a nice quick one, and that was available at the time. And it's a decent mid 2000s comedy. You forget who's in the cast and stuff like that, and I think it has its place and stuff like that. But that was just kind of a nice little film. Have you seen Rat Race or not?
No, I thought it was a cartoon for some reason.
Not quite, no. It's very cartoony across the film. It's like slapstick, kind of.
What's the cartoon with the man with the moustache that pulls them through the phone? That's what I thought Rat Race
Wacky Racers, or
that's it.
Yeah, it has a very Wacky Racers vibe kind of to it. And then the same day I watched Zone of Interest, just to balance it out.
How did you find that?
Probably one of the most like the amount of times I just mouthed to myself, kind of, just like audibly, just like trying to process the film and stuff like that. Very impactful film. Very impactful film. Fantastic. I'm glad it ended up winning in the Oscars, and yeah, best sound, yeah, definitely. Phenomenal film in that sense. And then it's just a bit of a weird tangent, and I want to talk about this tangent. So I watched Palm Springs, which is a film that I'd seen twice now. I quite enjoy Palm Springs. It's a nice, easy watch.
Still not seen it, but I've heard really good stuff.
Yeah. Grand Budapest Hotel. It's, came out in 2014. It's 10 years now since Grand Budapest came out. And there's a lot of films that are going through their 10-year anniversaries this year, and I'm probably going to end up watching through a lot of them because 2014 is one of my favorite years for film. I mean, off the top of my head, Whiplash and Interstellar will probably be watched at some point throughout the year as well. There's going to be a few other films that I'm going to go and watch through as well. So, really enjoyed that. And then a couple of interesting ones. So, first of all, because of his fantastic win for Best Supporting Actor, I ended up watching another film where he's a fantastic supporting actor in, Robert Downey Jr., and that is Tropic Thunder, which I still absolutely love. And yes, the jokes still hit, and it's still very funny. And, I don't know how people can hate on that film. I know people will say about, the Robert Downey Jr. blackface thing, but, they comment on that in the film. They actually comment. It's the whole point of that. I know,
film,
but
it's the whole point. This is what does. I think it's like, to sound like an old man, it's like TikTok or young people or like Instagram reels. It's like people out of context. Obviously, like you'd look at that and think, "What the fuck?" But I can't see even that's out of context because I saw this film when I was like 11 and 12, like when it came out. So it is, to me, one of the greatest satires ever made. And as every passing year goes with the film industry, Tropic Thunder feels more and more real. Everything about it is so on point. And I think the ridiculousness of sequels, the franchises, the product placement, it was not as bad in the mid-2000s as it is now. Yet Tropic Thunder comes out in 2008 and just perfectly nails everything wrong with cinema. But that performance, there's something about Ryan Gosling being nominated for Ken up against Robert Downey Jr., where I kept thinking of Tropic Thunder like, Robert Downey Jr. has had the comedy role and not won it. Ryan, you're not going to win yours for the comedy role. You'll get it eventually. 100% he'll get one in his career at some point.
Yeah.
But Ardy needed to win for Oppenheimer anyway, but his Tropic Thunder performance is still up there with one of his best. And the fact he filmed it before Iron Man came out, people seem to forget too.
Yeah, absolutely. And fantastic, funny film. In the same vein, I ended up rewatching Oppenheimer just because it was the Best Picture winner. My tradition of watching the Best Picture winner afterwards. I didn't even put it down on my Letterboxd, but I did end up watching it just as a refresher. And yeah, absolutely deserves it. 100%. It's one of those things where it wasn't the highest on my rankings last year, but when you kind of think about the craft of the film and you think about the film kind of put together and everything that goes into it, the acting, the direction, the score, just everything all together, it was probably on whole the best film of last year. And, it deserves that win. And I'm intrigued to see where Nolan goes now because he's been given the accolades. And I wonder whether he will, and this is something that we've discussed on the channel before and stuff like that, I wonder whether he will lean more towards something that's not awards worthy, but not
like a Tenet, like the big
blockbuster. A film like Tenet, but maybe attached to a franchise already about spies, or whether he goes or whether he leans even more into that awards kind of and does kind of these high scale kind of dramas set for that.
I feel like he's just vibing to like when his next film comes, he will write it down. And there's murmurs that Universal and Warner Brothers would both bid for it. It's like he doesn't care who's bidding for it. Like whatever his next film is getting made under the sun. Like everyone will be fighting to have it. And not that it's a matter of company politics, but I'd like him to do another one with Universal just because. And I think he's the type that is like, you took a sort of risk on me with with Oppenheimer. I mean, they'll say they took a risk, sure, but he bagged a paycheck of just under 100 mil. I didn't read the article.
Yeah.
Through all his bonuses, loopholes, ticks, box offices, Oscars, everything, he picked up just under $100 million salary, which is fucking insane. Fair play. And I'm the same as you. Like, it's always been the same. Like, when he now he's one of the few directors where, like, the next insert director name here film is starting to gather pace. And I remember for Oppenheimer, it was like Nolan's next one. It could be a biopic about the guy that created the atomic bomb. And everyone's like, kind of makes sense. And here we are, like, and whatever his next thing's going to be, if it's Bond, we'll be buzzing, and then we'll be like, kind of makes sense. Like, it's been building for a long time, and at least we're not talking the awful Sun rumors that got destroyed by credible outlets everywhere with Aaron Taylor Johnson. But if Eon don't bring him in, he's got the whole world in his hands. I feel it's now or never. And for them, really, it's now or never. Like, you're going to have to work with someone, but this guy could bring the entire world in to watch that next Bond film. Like, more than, even if, let's say, don't want to speculate, but let's say they hire an actor who everyone looks at and goes, oof, I'm not sure about him as Bond. If Nolan's the director, everyone will say, but it's a Nolan film. And I guess we would have known at the time, would have been too young, but it was the whole backlash to Heath Ledger, right? Everyone slaughtered Heath Ledger being the Joker. And now we'd be sitting there saying, wow, it's a Christopher Nolan film. And also look at Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. And then to complete my trilogy of films off the back of the Oscars, I ended up watching Sexy Beast for the first time. Never seen it before. And I'd heard things about the film. I'd heard about, the great performances from Ray Winston and from, oh my God, mind blanking.
Ben Kingsley.
Sir Ben Kingsley. What an intense film that is. Great film. Not very long as well. I was expecting it to be like a 2-hour long kind of, film. I genuinely didn't even read the synopsis going into it. Had no idea what to expect. And I thoroughly enjoyed it as like a British gangster film that's not even set in Britain kind of vibe. It was fantastic. Ibiza? Yeah, it's set in Ibiza,
we watched it at college. Now, I've not seen Under the Skin or Jonathan Glazer's other film that's not the Zone of Interest, but he's made 4 films in like 20 years. And it's like the difference of those 4 films. And you go back to Sexy Beast, and it's got one of the best soundtracks. Probably not the best time, but I was blazing the soundtrack on the way to Zone of Interest. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to say, but like when we watched it at college during that studying phase, I was like, I really like this British gangster film. I've got it and I love it. And I don't think I've ever met someone that's watched it and disliked it. But I don't think enough people have heard of it.
Neither do I. My dad caught me onto it a long time ago. He's like, "Oh, you haven't seen Sex Beast before? Like one of the best villain performances of all time," he said. And like it's always been in the back of mind. Oh, I'll watch it at some point. And then as soon as Zone of Interest won the Oscar, as soon as I saw Zone of Interest, which ended up being my first Jonathan Glazer film I'd ever watched, which is very odd to say now. Immediately went through and watched Sexy Beast, and I'll probably end up watching Under the Skin, and I'll try and watch his other one as well, just to watch his entire catalogue. That's a retrospective done right there. But no, really enjoyed Sexy Beast. Fantastic film. Great soundtrack. Really like the cinematography as well. Really like kind of the setting and everything that involved. But yeah, back on track to this month. Spaceman, new Adam Sandler film. Adam Sandler in a serious role, and there's been a few of them he's done. I really enjoyed Uncut Gems. This one, not so much. This was meh. With Paul Dano as a weird space spider. Yeah. I mean, I can understand what he was trying to go for. They make for a great kind of small Black Mirror concept kind of thing, but just didn't vibe with me. The pacing was far too slow, and I think what helps Adam Sandler in the films where he is acting serious, like Punch Drunk Love, like Uncut Gems, the pace of the film is actually quite high tempo. So he's able to get away with his quick wit and able to get away with his kind of quick speaking and stuff like that, and able to push those things through. I've heard similar things about the Merowitz stories where he's just a fast talking person. He plays the Jurassic role well. In this one where he has to talk slow, I don't know if I can take him serious enough just from his previous catalog. And it's harsh, but it's just kind of Adam Sandler, the profile that he's built up around himself and the films that he's had previously. You just can't look past that sometimes. And there's the film itself, he acted fine in it. It's just I feel like it's too slow paced for him as the main actor. Throw anyone else into that main actor's role, I'd be calling the film decent. But even though he doesn't put on a bad performance, I can't look past that with him, which is really difficult. I think that's
It's
similar
because
with
it's
a lot
Adam
of
Sandler,
critics.
though, isn't it? Like, do you see the video of him in like London? Say like he just pulls up to like random basketball courts in like the outskirts of London, just plays basketball with people, and I'm like, fair play. Like,
Yeah.
I think I read there's a report he's meant to be doing Happy Gilmore too, which I really don't want to see happen. I love Happy Gilmore, but not every great comedy needs a sequel 30 years later.
Yeah.
But
now, after that, I ended up seeing on the same day one of the best films I'd seen this year and one of the worst films I'd seen this year. I ended up watching All of Us Strangers, which, yeah. I understand now why people were weeping at London Film Festival whilst watching it. What a phenomenal film. What a brilliant kind of way of looking at, grief and looking at legacy and looking at kind of loneliness and kind of, growing up being gay. There's so many different things happening within this film, but it's so expertly put together. I know when we're doing the Oscar nominations and stuff like that, I think I mentioned All of Us Strangers being kind of missed here. And I will say, I think it's a miss. I think it missed on Best Actor for Andrew Scott because he is so good in this film. He is so, so good. And the supporting roles in the film as well are brilliant across the board. So I think this film's a miss in general. I think people should go and watch it now. It's on. It was on Disney Plus out here in Austria. I'm not sure if it's on Disney Plus in the UK as well.
Yeah, it's just come on. I've still not seen it. I got an email that's on, and there's been. I think it's because you're getting those December releases are starting to get online now. There's another Disney Plus.
But it's weird. So it was at London Film Festival, right? But
yeah,
because it wasn't a wide release, it's technically a 2024 release in the UK. So it's going to count towards,
Oh yeah. Its cinema release here was like mid-January, mid to late Jan. But it was the very typical cinema world. Here's your trailer. By the way, we show it once a day for a week, and then we'll take it out of cinemas. So it's like a one that's come out. I missed it last month. Devil. What's his name?
Devil. What's it called? Late Night with the Devil with Damien Malkian. Yeah.
Another one week we'll show it at 10 o'clock at night. So I didn't get to watch it. And I don't really watch horror films, but I'd have liked to have seen that. And that was at LFF as well, wasn't it?
I was going to say that got good reviews at LFF as well. Both All of Us Strangers and Late Night with the Devil were like, what's it called? Not sold out screenings, but they couldn't actually fit enough people in, so they put on extra screenings for them. But yeah, no, highly recommend All of Us Strangers. Probably my second favorite film of the year so far. Absolutely fantastic film. We'll probably rewatch it at some point as well. And then I watched Madame Web.
Did you enjoy it though? It's funny. It's funny though. It's not me, right? It's funny. It's like The Room.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Really. Here's the thing. Here's how I see it. I can't believe this film was made nowadays because if this film was made in the early 2000s, I think it could have gotten away with a lot. It could have gotten away with an awful lot of the dialogue and the filming and some of the CGI and the plot points and stuff like that. And I know it's set in that time period, but you can't film it as if it's a film that was being filmed back then. Cinema's changed since then. Come on. Like, this is crazy that this film was even made. And dear God, I don't see anyone kind of still a fan of the Sony Spider-Verse and any of Spunk or whatever it's called. I mean, you've got Venom 3 coming out, but no one cares.
No, please call it by its correct name. Venom 3, The Last Dance. That's official. That's a real title.
Tom Hardy must be paid so much to do those films.
He definitely signed a 3-picture contract, didn't he? He definitely signed a 3-picture contract.
He must be getting an ungodly amount of money to not buy himself out of that contract.
I think my conspiracy is the first one it being so bad, which isn't his fault. They did the whole we'll cut it down from R to 12, blah blah blah. And I think it was on such bad ways after. He's the producer now, isn't he? Like Andy Serkis, your colleague from, well, I think they've produced stuff. I think they've done a lot of stuff together. Andy Serkis is going to direct the second one. And let's bring on cast members, British people like Stephen Graham, who worked with other stuff. And then the third one's done the same thing. It's like British-based, British production. And it's like, I wonder if they've just like given Tom Hardy, I say creative control, I don't mean it in that way, but it's like Sony's like, yeah.
Damage limitation control, maybe? Or would
Yeah,
you not
like,
think
listen,
Abbey Arad would just,
I literally just think it's like Sony's like, we just want to see Venom fight something. You're locked under contract, so there you go.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably it. And that seems like, I mean, Madame Web, like, when you get to the final scene, it's outright comedy at that point. It's like, how did she get blinded? She didn't, but she's now blind and paralyzed. And it was so funny. And we'll mention someone that's all over the internet, Sydney Sweeney, as well. The marketing campaign to put her in this, I mean, it's the same for the three Spider Girls, not just Sydney Sweeney, but obviously that's the one everyone talks about.
Yeah.
To put them in the costumes for like 20 seconds, and 20 seconds was like every trailer from day one.
Yeah.
The fact she's already joked about it on SNL that no one watched Madame Web. Yeah.
I mean, the villain as well, and the bad lip syncing with that, and it's just
they
like
CGI
terrible.
some of it to try and hide it, like that, because he was from the Mauritanian, so he's actually got like a background in acting, which is even weirder.
I just want to point this out. I've seen Catwoman, and I've seen Daredevil, and I'd rather watch those two again than watch Madame Web again.
Madame Web's funny. It's like it is the room of superhero films.
It is. It reminds me of not another superhero movie, but those kind of films, back then.
Parody ones.
Yeah, the parody ones. Yeah. So I ended up watching a good comedy parody film in The Pick of Destiny. Which, have you seen Pick of Destiny? Fantastic soundtrack in the first place with Tenacious D's kind of score, and you've got so many good songs in there like Kickapoo, Beelzebos. It's if you've ever heard a Tenacious D song, it's probably from this film, apart from Fuck Her Gently and Tribute. But Tribute's kind of made about one of the songs in this film. So it's a stoner comedy. It's okay. It's not like a groundbreaking comedy or anything like that, but it's a good watch, shall we say. It's a good watch. Then I watched Mystic River.
Heard of it, I've not seen it.
Yeah, this is one of those films where I was packing my stuff. And I was like, do you know what? I want to throw on like a detective drama, like a mystery that can be solved and stuff like that. And it's got a decent cast to it. Like it's multi-Oscar winning as well. So it's got Sean Penn and Tim Robbins, who both won Oscars for their roles. So he won Best Actor and Tim Robbins won Best Supporting Actor. And then you've got Kevin Bacon and Laurie Fishburne in it as well. So it's got a decent cast. It's directed by Clint Eastwood as well. And it's a proper like kind of detective drama set in Boston. It's brilliant. I really liked it. And yeah, it's got a fascinating dynamic behind it. Kind of a mob story / family drama / kind of friends growing up, kind of as if the end of Stand By Me kind of extended into kind of other things. It's a really good watch, and I'd recommend it. It was when did it come out? It came out in 2003, so it was up against Return of the King, I'm assuming, at the Oscars. So that's probably why it didn't win. But I'm guessing because it won 2 Oscars, it probably won the only other 2 Oscars that were left going in that year instead of that. So I think any other year it'd probably have a strong shout for being like, put forward for Best Director or even Best Film. I really enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. It was on Netflix out here. It was also on Prime Video out here. So I'd recommend those. Then I watched a new film, Next Goal Wins.
What's it like, the Taika one?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
It's fine.
It's not as bad as people make out, I'm guessing.
It's nowhere near as bad as people make out. I'm trying to think of. Last year I watched the film Champions, which is about a guy who took over a disabled basketball team, a disability basketball team. And that film had a lot of heart in it. And I really enjoyed that film because it had a lot of heart in it and understood kind of the people that it was marketing to and stuff like that. This film seems to be somewhat praising, but also insulting, the people of American Samoa and how bad they are at football and stuff like that within this film. And I know there are jokes made about kind of, there are jokes made about like transvestites and people transitioning and everything like that. There's a few kind of jibes and stuff like that which don't hit. And it tries to pull it back by putting a heart into the story, but at that point it's already kind of, made those jokes, which are a bit like, did you have to do that kind of thing? But the film itself is absolutely fine. It's watchable. It's still not Taika returning to form or anything like that. It's better than the last 4 film, but it's still a very, very average middle of the road film. I wouldn't watch it again if that's anything. Maybe in like 10 years time or something like that, if I've completely forgotten it or anything like that. But yeah. Final few things I watched: The Spider Within, the short film released onto YouTube this week, which I know came out last year, but I hadn't seen it yet. I don't know if it was only just released now. Have you seen it yet? Or
I've not heard of this, to be fair.
so it's Spider-Verse, right? But it's a campaign against depression and fighting your inner demons. It's really nice. It's a nice short film. It's only 7 minutes long. It's really good, really well animated, and it has a good cause behind it. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay.
I'd recommend it. It's on YouTube for free to go and watch. I don't think it was available on YouTube beforehand, but that's that. And then continuing on from last month, my final few things. I'm rewatching through the X-Men films, watched X-Men 2, X-Men Last Stand, and X-Men Origins Wolverine, and also X-Men First Class. Now,
so you ended on a good one.
I ended on a good one. I had to. There was no way I couldn't get through First Class without. X2, brilliant film. Liked it. Still a few cheesy jokes thrown in there, but whatever. X-Men Last Stand, not as bad as I remembered it. Still a few bad creative decisions, and making Magneto lose all of his morals that he had throughout the entire series is a bit shit. But acting still top notch and stuff like that. And the CGI actually isn't that bad, if that makes sense, because X-Men Origins Wolverine is horrific. Not the worst superhero film I've seen this month, but it's bad. There are a few redeeming qualities of the film, like the opening sequence, but apart from that, not much going there. And then finally, First Class. I still love First Class. First Class is great. I've got a good run coming up. I've got the Wolverine, then Days of Future Past, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, First Class is a great film. Good acting to fill in the roles from the previous Magneto and Charles Xavier, to bring in James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender into those roles, and they play it brilliantly. And Fassbender is phenomenal in that role, and the score for that film is great. And everything in between is good. The acting quality is good in this film as well. And yeah, a good film to finish the month on, shall we say?
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn's when he's still doing good films, and he did the treatment right that became Apocalypse, because he dropped out of. Not Apocalypse. He dropped out of Future Past to do Kingsman, which I guess worked in his favor, really.
Yeah, it did. 100%.
And then Apocalypse showed why Bryan Singer shouldn't have any credit, really, for Days of Future Past.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But right, film-wise for me, okay, I've not watched as many this summer, but I've still been watching some, and it sort of came and gone. So I was doing a deal. I've just got Letterboxd up. So 1st of March, there's a bit of a trend for the first 2 days. June came out on the 1st of March, didn't it? So I'm a BFI IMAX trip. I'd already seen the press screening, sold out daytime, evening time. Sorry, I got them mixed up. Unbelievable at that cinema. My favorite cinema in the country for when the best things are showing. I'm seeing Phantom Menace on May the 4th. I can't fucking wait. 2nd of May, local IMAX with my dad, sold out again. Great for the industry. Great to see how much money Dune's made. Was incredible on both of those showings. They didn't watch anything for a week. I was tuned out. I couldn't. It wasn't like a snob that what can compete, but I was like, I don't really want to watch something. I haven't been watching TV shows, so I haven't had like background stuff or anything like that. But it was Oscar weekend, and I was like, I've got a few more films to watch. So on the 9th, I watched Rustin, which was Netflix one, the Civil Rights Movement one. I thought it was okay. It was a great lead performance, but I wasn't really invested into the stories. And I think at this point in time, it's more of me than the film. It's that I'm only watching you because the awards are tomorrow night. And again, it's the whole Netflix thing. Like, we don't market our films, we don't type about our films, but this one got nominated, so now we're going to talk about it. And I thought it was a great lead performance, but nothing really else gripped me from it. It's common doing going that, who is great. On the 10th, I watched Anatomy of the Fall, literally like half an hour before the ceremony started, because the time.
I really like Anatomy. I
liked it as well. I liked it as well. It would have won in many other years, and the fact it wasn't even the top 2 for this year is quite something. Really good film. Love a good courtroom drama, proven by Oppenheimer. Then the Oscars have been and gone, and I'm not going to lie, there is no Oscar films on my list for the rest of the month. On the 12th, we're going to head into a very weird patch now. Do you watch the Amazon film Ricky Stenicki, or have you heard of it at all? No? It's obviously Zac Efron was in the Iron Claw, and I knew that Zac Efron was doing a comedy with John Cena because they'd spoke about the pair of them like talking wrestling with each other and stuff like that, which is really cool. Anyway, Ricky Stenicki is an R-rated comedy where John Cena basically plays like a washed-up, druggy, alcoholic, you name it, he's been it type person who has to. There's a group of like frat lads who are old now, and they had like an invisible best friend. They blamed everything on when they're younger, like burning down a house. They created a name, so this invisible friend became their excuse for their entire life. And then John Cena has to play this invisible friend come to life. Basically, it's not good, but I don't think it's terrible at the same time. John Cena, I'm not even biased at wrestling. He's very, very good with, I think, quite poor source material. It's funny at times. The problem is that the frat sort of characters are all pricks. And I'm not talking pricks like, oh, they'll learn their lesson in 180. Even when he gets in the film, you're like, you're all tossers still. Like, don't really care for any of you. And it's tricky with films like, because you can't ever alleviate to it, because I'm like, you're all just dickheads anyway. But John Cena is great in this film, and I think this was filmed like a year or two ago, so it's probably before the Iron Claw happened. Probably sat on an Amazon bookshelf for like 3 years waiting to be put online. But again, the timing, the Oscars have been and gone. It's a new release. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. New John Cena film. Love John Cena. I think what he's shown with Peacemaker and even popping up in like Barbie and Argyle, where he's good in the few scenes he's in. I really like John Cena, and I think he's going to smash it in Hollywood. But Ricky Stenicki, he set up an OnlyFans. I don't know if you saw all those memes. It was all part of marketing for this. But yeah. And I thought, okay, that's the bad film of the week done. Then there's a new film at the cinemas, Drive-A Dolls, which was dubbed a lesbian comedy. Because it was dubbed that, I didn't realize it was a Coen Brothers film. I say brother.
Coen brother.
Singular. Dreadful. Thought it was awful. Didn't do a review on it. Nothing polite to say about it. I know some people have really enjoyed it. I know some people have loved it. Some people haven't. I didn't find it. I don't think the script was that good. And I think because I didn't know it was a Coen film until the Coen flashed up at the start of the film, suddenly I had expectations. And I'd have said, if it wasn't for that, this is some cheap like Coen Brothers knockoff that someone that thinks they're a Coen Brothers doing this film, and it's crap. But then you get the sad reality. There's actually one of the two of them. I for the love of me, don't know which one it was. But again, that was hooray cinema. You know, there's not much out. Then on the 21st, I watched Roadhouse. Now, I've never seen the original Roadhouse. I'm talking about the Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor one. I don't know if this is the day it came out. It was on Prime, so I watched it when I was working. And I sort of wondered, I should have watched the original first, just because I've never seen it, and I should have. It's a Patrick Swayze film, and everyone saw the MMA clips of like Jake Gyllenhaal last year, didn't they? Where like he turned up to an Octagon like ripped, and apparently actually did all right. And I was like, okay, I didn't know Roadhouse is UFC, but okay. But obviously, I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor. I don't watch UFC. I like wrestling for a reason. And obviously, Conor McGregor's acting. I'm guessing you might have seen the memes of him in the last week or two.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
Yeah. So I was watching the film, and I was like, I swear Conor McGregor is this. Where the fuck is he? He didn't come into like halfway in, and he's basically just playing himself. And watching it, I was like, this is going to be everywhere. in the next few days. This is going to be on Reels, on Stories, on Facebook. You're going to have weirdos saying that Conor McGregor's a great actor, but, that sort of thing. He's funny in it, but he's not good in it. The film itself, I thought was like not bad, but not average.
Yeah.
A weird middle ground. There's some really weird. I like some of it. I like the logic of it. Again, I don't know what's changed from the original, what hasn't, so I can't applaud it or slaughter it for that. Do they need to remake Roadhouse? My answer is no, having watched it anyway. But people will say yes for the Conor McGregor memes. But the fight scenes were okay in it. But they did some weird framing CGI stuff at times, which was a bit really weird to follow. I'm not quite sure what went on there, but I had to laugh because Amazon were like, we've had 122 million minutes watched in the first week, and the film's 122 minutes long, and the top reply was like, well, that just means 1 million people watched it. And then Conor McGregor came out saying like 50 million people have watched it, and it would have made 750 million at the box office. I'm like, yeah, no. The Roadhouse remake would not be in the top 10 of the last 3 years at the box office.
No.
But so yeah, it's been very and this is the thing with streaming, right? There are films that do get massive online on streaming, like Saltburn. Saltburn bigger than this, but they make nothing. Saltburn made nothing at the cinema, which is why I went online so much quicker. This didn't ever go to the cinema to begin with. Apparently, it was meant to, so I feel bad for the director that they screwed him out. Amazon did.
Yeah.
Part of the whole MGM stuff, but yeah, Roadhouse. Same day as Roadhouse, I then watched Jumanji: The Next Level because I realized I'd obviously seen the Robin Williams one, and I'd seen the first Rock and Kevin Hart, and I was like, why did I ever watch the one that had Danny DeVito and Danny Glover in? I don't know why I never saw it. It's been on my shelf for like years. Have
you never watched it before? This is the first time watch?
The first time of the sequel, if that makes sense. As in the Rocks, it's Jumanji 3 technically, but they don't call it Jumanji 3.
I'm surprised you hadn't actually seen Jumanji: The Next Level. I think I saw that in cinemas. Like that's.
I don't know why I didn't, and I really, really, really liked the first one. I just hadn't ever seen it. Now I thought it was fine. I don't have much more to add than that. They're very entertaining. I would like them to do round off the new trilogy. I think that's murmured. Schedule's probably trying to get them all together is tricky. Jack Black's great in it. The Rock, I think, is really good in it. Kevin Hart's good in it. I don't like this one as much as the first one. But I like the idea that the grandparent they switcheroo who's being in who. And then Awkwafina pops up, and I'm just sort of at a point now where I'm like, I think she's a good actress. I think she's talented.
Plays the same role in almost every single film.
Yeah, and like there are actors that unfairly get told you play the same role, but Awkwafina, it is the same role, the same, like, I don't know what we'd call it, like decibel point, like the style, the dialogue, the everything, and she seems to be in a lot of animated films as well. And I was like, okay. I know this is a lot before this recent trend. This is probably just before that was really booming, if I'm honest. But yeah, listen. The Rock's the thumbnail. I'm clearly on the wrestling hype, and I've just got to say this. And currently, it's WrestleMania weekend, and he's main eventing Saturday. He's like 51, 52 now. And I'm not just saying he's ripped in great shape. He looks physically like better now than the last couple of years. I'm guessing he's done like ring training. That's a fact that's been on the news day. But this is where I'm perplexed by it. I didn't say this before enough because I know you don't like wrestling. And this is where you're going to find a really funny irony here, right? So this is before I was watching it. Rock fought Hogan in 2003, I think. Passing of the torch, the biggest wrestler ever against that generation. 2012 and 13, you had Rock v. Cena across 2 years, same logic, passing of the torch. I was moaning about the Rock stealing the Cody Rhodes stuff months ago, and this is all basically started to fix itself in the last 6 weeks, and I'll give massive credit to Rock here. So his ego took a bruising with Hollywood, clearly with Black Adam. Clearly, it's no surprising. WWE is I say peaking, is in a new era that is going to get batshit insane for the next few years, and it's all going to... When it's Netflix in January next year, I'm telling you that WWE will be as big as it was in the 90s. Like, it is happening. I'm seeing more and more and more people talking about wrestling that don't watch wrestling. I'm seeing it happening more culturally, significantly since the takeover with UFC. Not just I've got back into it, but they're clearly not just got rid of Vince McMahon. All the old timers, all the production values have changed. The cameras used for shooting, everything has changed in the space of a year. And there was a tweet that went viral on Monday after Raw where they compared it to like WWE sacked Kevin, and that was like the head of production, and hired Martin Scorsese. and it's just because they do a 1 minute tracking shot of someone out the back cutting a promo, heading into the curtain with his music already playing, and following his entrance from behind him for once. Because they're doing like not even experimental. It looked fucking
They're
sick.
trying to make it more
cold.
cinematic.
Yeah, but it was cold as fuck, and it worked really well. But anyway, so the reason I'm building up to this, after the shenanigans of The Rock putting himself back in the main event to fight his cousin Roman Reigns, after the backlash of everyone in the industry, wrestlers, fans booing The Rock at events, everything, to his credit, he is reevaluated. So after the Hogan thing, so this was going, he became Hollywood's Rock in 2003. But he'd done Scorpion King, so he would
say, yeah.
And he'd come back and he'd be like, I'm a fucking actor. You're all basically morons. Canada's a shithole. This is a shithole. Joke, 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 laugh, laugh, laugh. And apparently, again, before I was watching it, they loved him. When you look back at it, it's very funny. But that's his villain character, but he's still very comedic.
Yeah.
This is where it's gone. This is where the Black Adam shit's going to come in now, right? After this stuff that happened at the Royal Rumble and everything here, he has become a new iteration called the Final Boss, which is kind of really cheesy but funny at the same time. He is now not joking. He is now not pissing around. He is now not insulting other people. He is now actually playing Black Adam for the first time in his career. To the point that his new entrance, they remix his theme, and lightning bolts go. It blacks out the room, a couple of lightning bolts, and then he's emerged and he is there, like at the entrance. Again, the new production device, everything. He's a producer, and he isn't laughing. He isn't joking. He's mercilessly beating the shit into people at will on obviously PG America as well. He is swearing on PG broadcasts. No fucks given. He is like off his head, and I've just got to give the guy credit for slagging him off for so long. And I'm not just saying this; he's doing the best performance of his career at the moment. I'm talking wrestling. I'm talking acting. His villain, like and everyone's trying to say is like, why didn't he do this for Black Adam? Like, and you know what? If Black Adam meant we got this, great, because he's main eventing WrestleMania on Saturday. He's clearly setting up a year-long feud with Roman Reigns, who's part of the whole, the tribal tattoo, the family history. And it's going to be great. It's peak cinema, and wrestling's viewership numbers are going up, 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 and up, up, and up. We're not getting Mania next year in London, but we're supposedly getting Royal Rumble. Rumors are pointing towards. Don't know where, because it's January. You can't put it at a football stadium. But The Rock is pivoted, and he's incredible. He whips someone, like, put it this way, right? They're in Chicago. You know the old wrestling. Yeah. Oh, we have a fight backstage. So The Rock chucks a guy through the doors, and then it's pouring down in rain, and they are scrapping in the rain outside by the buses. They frame Stone Cold Steve Austin on the side of a production truck in the background, clearly as a bat signal to come up at WrestleMania weekend. And Cody Rhodes, who The Rock's beating the shit into, he takes it's like a weightlifting belt, the sort of thick ones.
Yeah.
The Rock literally like gets his blood, wipes it across the belt, and he's going to gift it to his mother at WrestleMania weekend. And I'm like, where the fuck was The Rock doing this a couple of years ago? Like, and listen, it's wrestling, it's ridiculous. I love it. It's entertaining. It's like a soap opera, but I've got to give full credit to The Rock. Like, he's took the aggro and everything that's come with him, and he's worked into his best performance of his career. And I think he's kind of earned that point. Like, you look at the side of him, he shouldn't be sort of pissing about and laughing. He remixed, not like remix, but he cut a promo, and then he spoke about. He played a clip of children crying, like, in football when people get relegated, like the kids crying.
Yeah.
He played that to the entire world, and it's mocking children crying about his attack. And then he sings "You're Welcome," which is like cold and delusional, but sort of kind of funny at the same time. And yeah, the Rock. Listen, WrestleMania, it's going to be massive. Wrestling's getting massive. The Rock has even said, like, in January next year, because even though he's clearly going to be obviously part-time in between films and whatever. He's been on almost every week for the last 6 weeks. Like, he's doing it. He's cutting 20-minute promos in his gym at home and uploading them to Instagram. And I don't know why that weird thumb thing just came up on the screen. It always does it. But yeah, like, if anyone's curious at home, like, go look at The Rock's social media feeds. Like, just look at what he's doing with wrestling at the moment. And I think he was on Jimmy Fallon last night. So obviously he's all like, and then he's at the Oscars in a suit, smiling and laughing at a character like normal again. So, wrestling is getting big. It's getting very big. The audience numbers are growing and growing and growing. Everything's selling out from WWE everywhere. Even I'm going to house show in Birmingham in 2 weeks. House shows never sell out. This one sold out, and that's just a random fucking Wednesday night. So it's a good time for wrestling. I'm enjoying being back into it. It's better than F1. And again, credit to The Rock. And all this came from watching Jumanji. Not what I was like. Okay, now I'm watching him on Raw every week. I should probably go and watch Jumanji. I think that was the logic. But yeah, so that out of the way. I then watched Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. It was fine. People love it. People hate it. I've always been neutral to Ghostbusters. I've never been a fan. I liked Afterlife. I like this one. Don't really like the originals. I wouldn't say I'm a fan still. I just thought it was okay. It's harmless. It's not really a great review, but yeah. I guess this is what people like that watch Star Wars. They don't like Star Wars. They're like, yeah, they're fine. All right. I then watched Spaceman on the 28th. Didn't really like it. I'm the same as you with Adam Sandler. I like Adam Sandler. I just don't. I don't know. It felt like a sort of streaming version of Moon. I know this is based off a book.
Yeah,
but it's like the lone astronaut. Oh, it's a spider. I liked the spider. They forge a cool relationship, and it dies, and it's sad. But it's sort of. I didn't really care. Carey Mulligan popped up. I was like, oh, nice. I then watched Godzilla v Kong. Sorry, and Kong. X-Kong. Collab Kong. It actually was all right, you know. Like, it was fun. It was like 60s Godzilla films, but like today, like the Godzilla German suplexes King Kong across the pyramids. At that point in time, I was roaring. He then he spears King Kong as well. And they know what. Listen, the problem is some of those monster films have been taken way too seriously. This one like knew what it was, and I respect it for it. It's not dying down on the ridiculousness. It's become a meme already with like two monkeys fighting. It's not like peak cinema, but it's made a lot of money in its first week, a lot more money than I thought it'd make, and audiences seem to have really enjoyed it. So I watched that. I then went home and I watched Son of Godzilla. That's what that creature thing is.
That's the one with the baby Godzilla. That's a famous
baby Godzilla.
One, yeah,
it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's so ridiculous. It is stupid. It's moronic, and it's great for it. Godzilla having a child just makes sense, and that's what Kongverse needs now. And that's why I was thinking it, because there's like a mini Kong in the trailer, and I just sat there watching Kong because I was like, it wouldn't work for the MonsterVerse, but if they chucked in a mini Godzilla, that could really do some damage. But yeah, Son of Godzilla getting me back on track for the watch. I think I'm still on the show row, the 60s, and then I watched Monkey Man on Saturday. This is before, so in credits out tomorrow. Dev Patel, Cineworld showed it early, even before the press screen, which caught me off guard. Said no trailers, knew nothing. Insane action film, incredible directorial debut from Dev Patel. He's clearly got a very forthcoming future behind the lens as well as in front of it. Everyone will compare John Wick, and I will rightfully say yes. It's not about dogs or revenge on dogs, but it's the way the action shot, it's the way it's staged, it's the way the characters are. You enjoy the characters, the smaller roles, the people in it. It's very differently paced to John Wick, but the John Wick comparisons are very valid. And the only downside was, if anyone's seen the review on the channel, I thought I was tired. That's as I started getting ill. I just didn't know it till about 6 hours after, and I was basically dead for like 4 days. But Monkey Man, I'm not going to see it again at the cinema. It's not one I'm going to leap back to, but I thought it was it's in my top 5 of the year so far.
I'm looking forward to it. I really like Dev Patel, and from the trailer I've seen, it looks batshit insane, which I'm all for. Monkey
Man should have a reaction that Roadhouse has. Like, you know how no one really knew of John Wick when the first one came out? It was more of the film community, and then people discovered it. People are going to discover Monkey Man as the months go by, and it'll be when it ends up on Netflix. Because it was going to be on Netflix. And I've got to say, thank God it didn't end up straight on Netflix, because it would just be passed without thought. But it will be a film that when people see some of the set sequences, some of the set pieces, they're going to love it. It's very funny at times. That's the John Wick thing, right? They can do the dark, they can do the gore, they can do the action, they can do the drama. But if you add in those sort of sprinkles of comedy that are naturally very funny, it works for everyone. And it absolutely did that for me. I've not seen the film since. I've just been building up to WrestleMania.
There you go.
It's WrestleMania weekend. That means like 4. I haven't watched it live in years. 4 a.m. is it? It finishes. It's 2 days a week now as well. It's not even just Sunday night anymore. It's now Saturday night and Sunday night. And hopefully they get it to London because they announced an event in Scotland, and it's the same weekend as the Euros that England are playing. So I will wear an England top in Scotland and pray I don't get shot or stabbed or attacked by the passionate Glaswegians.
They're not in the Euros, are they? So
they're not. I don't. The Euros are so crap. I just let everyone.
Wait, Scotland are in Euros, yeah.
I think so.
Wales
I've England play it. Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but Clash at the Castle, they call it. I said, why not Warwick Castle? It'd be 5 minutes from me, but no, it's in Scotland. But that's my month. I've not watched any TV.
Yeah,
it's strange.
And
I think
I'll be honest. I mean, next month you'll know that June will be down on my list. But apart from that, I have no idea what's coming out. No idea what's kind of scheduled and stuff like that. Not much.
No, I know Challenges is this month, isn't it? Challenges is this month. I don't know if there's anything. Monkey Man's tomorrow, but technically that's been done. I feel like there's going to be something. I know that Chicken Nugget show came out. I wasn't really going to watch it, but I kind of was curious. This is like South Korean show. It's like a daughter gets turned into a chicken nugget, and the series is about her dad trying to turn her back into a human.
Never heard of it.
There we go. That would be. Don't know how that became.
Might be a TV month or a kind of old films month, going back through some different things.
Yeah,
but
exactly. It's a weird one, but that is everything we've seen in March. If I missed anything else, you'll be home at the next one, so you'll be back. A lot of films for the road. I am still ill, so I'm gonna nap. I actually don't know what films come out. I should know off the top of my head. I feel like there's something big, and I'm missing the really obvious answer. Or is it just Challenges? There's got to be something else. Because I forgot Ghostbusters was coming out. I was like, nothing's coming out. And so I was like, Ghostbusters out tomorrow. I was like, is it? And it was. But, you know, they never really advertise the press screenings, which is normally a sign that the film's not going to be much cop.
No, and they've already changed the trailer for Challenges. So
have they? Oh, okay.
They changed it. They changed it from the kind of,
anti-Tom Holland's worst nightmare film to
Call Me by Your Name style drama into what is now neon, a neon logo, really kind of high tempo kind of teen drama. It looks nothing like the slow paced kind of, stir the pot drama. It now looks like a kind of CW kind of style. It looks weird. It's completely changed. So I'll see it, but at the same time, I'll be commenting more on the tennis in the film than anything else.
Definitely, but that's going to do it for this one. People watching at home, do let us know what you've been watching. As I said, we'll have more videos out this month. There's a lot of other stuff. We've mentioned that there's obviously a lot of shows. TV's getting back up for a very big summer. There will be new releases. There's a lot of Star Wars stuff happening. The Phantom Menace is the 25th anniversary. Tickets are on sale if you're in the UK. Only the BFI IMAX is getting IMAX for one showing only. We can thank Ryan Gosling for that because of the clash with, the stunt film. I forgot
Fall Guys.
Fall Guy. But it's getting shown in 4DX. If you want to get yeeted on the pod race, then you're going to get the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to watch it. So that's
I might try and book him for both a 4DX and also a...
I'm doing both. The 4DX is going to be insane. Like, you wonder if Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed, I wonder if you just get impaled. Because on 4DX, they have a little backstabber on 4DX. They could proper dial it up for Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh my god!
That's gonna be fun. I just can't book it until they confirm the football fixtures. But aside from football conversation, thank you everybody for watching at home, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.